Boxing the X79. Alright guys, today I'm going to be talking about what I think the top decks in the upcoming July meta is going to be like. Alright, Banlist just dropped. Yeah, it hit a lot of decks, but the way I'm starting to see it, a lot of the older decks people think might make that, yeah, they are kind of lower on the list, but in my opinion they're still quite viable. We got some new stuff that are coming out of Rising Rampage that could make a splash, and we're going to jump right into it. I have three what I call honorable mention decks here. First one is Tennies. All right, these are all worm type monsters. They can special summon themselves out where you control a non-effect monster, whether that be a normal monster or any monsters that don't have effect in their written in their description box. You can special summon them out, and then from there you can banish them off the field, or I think the graveyard in hand to get other effects that can really help things go off. The light attribute monster is a tuner monster, so there is synchro plays that you can go into. I've seen this archetype being splashed with metal foes as well as spiral dragon serpent. So to be very honest, whether this particular archetype makes a splash in the meta is yet to be seen. But I got a feeling that you're going to be seeing these cards and the decks pop up. They're very easy to control, and they actually get a lot of resources for the players. So be on the lookout for this. The next one is going to be the Marinus archetype. This is the new water attribute Cyberus archetype. To be very honest, a lot of different videos out there that can show and showcase what this deck can do. I know a lot of players are using this more as an engine and stuff like frog decks or Atlanteans or Mermails and stuff like that. But I've seen what this deck can do in pure art as a pure deck, and I can tell you right now, yeah, this deck is not to be trifled with. A lot of people are saying, oh, it should be an engine rather than a deck by itself, but I can tell you right now, I've seen the decks where they combine with Atlanteans, where the Atlanteans are more tech cards and the deck is more Marinus centered, and the deck is just crazy. You don't want to mess with this one, and you want to be prepared for it. Alright? Moving forward, for my elemental, it's going to be Mystic Mine. Yeah, Mystic Mine is far from dead. Alright, the deck does not run that many monsters, so cards like Card Demise, as well as any other draw power that the deck has, can be really utilized to get to the cards you need. I know one of the key issues was Metaverse being hit and not being able to drop this card on your opponent's turn. We haven't lost that. I mean, we still have one copy of Metaverse in the game here in the TCG. We have one copy of Set Rotation, also very good. But there is one card that hasn't been touched, and that's this one. That's Demise of the Land. Basically, whenever your opponent special summons a monster, you get to activate his fill spell right from your deck. Same situation as Metaverse, except it's a quick play spell. Mystic Mine is far from dead. The burn variant still can be alive, and it can still be teched into a lot of different decks. Okay? Alright, and that was the back row of the Mystic Mine packs. Yeah, we're still going to need the same strategies. And speaking of which, that brings me to the number 5 decks on my list, and that's going to be both True Dracos and Guru Control. Primary reason is that they're both back row heavy decks, and considering the fact that we came out of a format where back row hate was being mained, I have a feeling that these decks will be present in the meta. It's just that they won't be getting very far. I mean, outside of the regional scene, we're not seeing them get any tops outside of the top 64 or top 32 at YCSs. However, it is important that you know how these decks work and how to beat the decks, so that's why these are on the number 5 spot. For my number 4 spot, I have another 2 decks, and these are the decks that actually got hit a little bit harder on the last ban list. That's both Sky Strikers and Salamander Grade. Alright, now with Sky Strikers, yes, the multi-roll went down to 1, so the means of recursion really got limited in this deck. However, with the fact that we're getting a new TCG exclusive Link 2 monster that can actually get you back your multi-roll or even your field spell in that particular case and protect face-up spell cards while they're on the field, I can tell you this right now, Sky Strikers are still in this. Yes, if you manage to get through that Link monster and actually figure out a way of how to stop the multi-roll from coming back, it's going to be a lot easier to deal with this deck. But if the deck can go off and protect their multi-roll, yes. I hate to turn around and say this deck can still do what it has been doing in the past few formats. It's far from dead. Just be careful how you approach this. Now, Salmon Grades, a lot of people have dropped this deck primarily because, oh, Gazelle guy put down the one and sold the circle. And to be very honest, do I think the hits were very hard? Yeah. I mean, didn't think Gazelle hit was coming this soon, but hey, it happened. We got to deal with it. And to be very honest, taking in cards like Foolish Burial Goods, as well as an extra as well as a Foolish Burial into the deck, and then putting 2 copies of Backup Secretary into the deck. I've been playing Salmon Grades Pure like that, and the deck still does what it does. You just need to prioritize what you have to bring back when you recycle. Gazelle and obviously Circle, if you have it in your graveyard, being the key cards that you want to constantly get into your hand so you don't lose them. Could make things a bit more interesting when dealing with this deck. I mean, Call by the Grave now becomes a more potent weapon against this deck. So Salmon Grade players really have to be on the watch out for that. All right. But other than that, the hits, in my opinion, actually have kind of raised the ceiling for the deck, in my opinion. Being able to tech in a lot of different things. I wouldn't be surprised if we see people trying to tech in cards that for more graveyard-centric strategies. I've seen some people trying to tech in Dark World support, like Dark World Dealings, for a little bit more consistency purposes. I know that the deck really needs to get stuff into the graveyard to get going. 2 level 3 monsters could potentially give you a Dante. Hey, so Burning Abyss could be an interesting tech into the deck. A lot of different things we can do with it. I think the ceiling now has actually gotten higher for the deck, so it's going to be interesting to see what creativity that players do with this deck going forward. All right? By no means is this deck dead. All right? So that's my before we go into my number 3. Yeah, this is going to be Pendulum Magicians. In my opinion, I think this deck is actually being overhyped for this particular format. It still has the same weaknesses as both the True Draco and the Subterra Guru decks, with all the back row hate being out there. So it's easily taken care of if you know how to play around this. Most players do know how to beat the Pendulum Magician, so it's going to be a very powerful deck, especially if it goes off first, because it can get a lot of negates on the board turn 1. But like I said before, if you know how to break the boards and play around the deck, it's going to be pretty easy to beat, which is why I'm putting this at the number 3 spot and not in any higher. All right. Number 2, I'm actually putting to Orchest. In my opinion right now, yes, they lost the Trickstar engine. Yes, they lost the PK engine, which kind of hurt the deck a little bit more. But here's the situation. The deck, I've seen Orchest decks running the Sky Striker engine, which actually melds a little bit better since the Orchists are machines. And so is the Sky Striker token, if memory serves me correctly. And being that with Sky Strike, just altering your play style with the Orchist and using the Sky Striker engine, you can incorporate protection like Eagle Booster or even interruptions like Widow Anchor. On the other hand, the Danger engine is still very useful in the deck. Being able to draw cards whenever you summon danger monsters, or even just getting stuff out of the deck that didn't deck out. And last but not least, I've also seen Orchest decks using the Warrior engine as well, being able to go into Isolde just to dump equip spells, and those equip spells that can summon out a level 4 or lower monster, and those equip spells are extenders in their own right. So the way I see it, this deck is a whole lot more. Yeah, it lost some stuff, but it still has a lot more other things going for it, so it still is viable. And I still think it's a very powerful deck because it can do a whole lot of other things. It's just really depending on how the players approach the deck and what they're going to do with the plays. Nightmare Mermaid is still in there, so the combo, if I remember, is still there. Just modified. All right. And last but not least, yeah, the number 1 deck on my list is going to be Thunder Dragons. Yes, the the Chaos Dragon Guard Dragon engine kind of got shrunk down. I mean, they lost Eclipse Ribbon, which can banish out the Thunder Dragons and get their effects off really easy. And both of the mini Chaos Dragons are at one, but thing is that the mini Chaos Dragons still kind of viable since Brotar is still around, and you can just use Brotar's effect to search out the Collapse Serpent, which then can get you onto the field by banishing a light-driven monster from your graveyard. So it really didn't do that much. I mean, it's just restricting. I mean, it's just restricting them to one turn instead of multiple turns. But you can still go through that, and not only that, but now I've seen danger. I mean, the Thunder Dragons deck starting to incorporate Crusadia, which actually makes the deck a whole lot scary because now they have that OTK element of adding Equimax into their decks. I mean, just an Equimax with Colossus on the field is just crazy. Just to go off, and from the Crusadia engine, you can actually go into your Guard Dragons as well. So there's that, and of course, let's not forget the Danger engine, which can still provide consistency and bodies on board for your Link summons. So yeah, there's a lot of things that this deck can do. It's most likely going to be the deck to beat this format. Just be aware of what their players are going to be putting into their decks, and if you can find a point to really interrupt them and break up their combo, yeah, go for it. All right, guys, that's it for my meta decks for the upcoming format, guys. I hope this was informative. I really believe that these are going to be the top decks for the format. Like I said, be careful with Mystic Mine. It's not dead, as a lot of players are thinking. Marin Assess, as well as Tinian, because those are the archetypes that have the most hype going around them out of Rising and Rampage, and I think they might really make an impact once things get going and the meta starts getting settled. Alright guys, as always, if you liked the video, give it a thumbs up. Want to see more content like this on my channel, make sure to subscribe, enable the notifications, including the YouTube notifications, so you don't miss a single upload. Alright, guys, follow me on Twitter, at BystanderX79. Alright, check the description box below, find the invite link to my Discord server, join the conversation, we'd love to have you, and if you guys really want to help me push my channel to greater heights, produce even better content than I've been producing before, please consider backing me on Patreon. The link is in the description below. All right? So guys, until next time, as always, peace.